Take it easy on her. Don't do anything to make the situation any worse.
I don't know how it could be. Julie, hello.
Hi, Mrs. Hughes. Haven't seen you in a long time. How have you been?
Just very well, thank you. I understand your modeling career is keeping you busy.
Yeah, keeps me hopping. I just stopped up by Dr. Dixon's office, and his secretary told me that I may be able to find him down here, so if you excuse me.
Julie, the first time we had a serious conversation, you said that you liked honesty and directness.
I meant it.
Good, because I really don't want to beat around the bush. I stopped at the apartment today, and when I went to hang my coat up in the closet, it was obvious that all of your clothes are gone. Have you moved out?
You know, Brock, I always hated winter till this year. But now our new life is beginning in winter. For the first time, it's not all cold and desolate and lonely like it used to be. It's the start of a whole new future with the man I love with all my heart. The man I know loves me. I always felt like I was second best till you came along. But I know I'll never feel that way with you. Yes?
Yes, there's a Mrs. Dixon here to see you.
Hello, Emily.
What do you want, Lucinda?
I just wanted to express my deepest sympathy for all that you're going through.
Lucinda, I know how you feel about me and my mother. Could you please tell me why you're really here?
Oh, darling, you can't think me so heartless that I wouldn't have any sympathy for a girl in your position. And, of course, I'm also concerned about poor little Ellie Snyder and her involvement in this case. The police keep questioning her all the time. They've just been at Walsh, searching her office because of the murder weapon.
Lucinda, what are you talking about?
Darling, if you will just let me come in for a moment, I'd be happy to fill you in on all I know.
Mr. Lombard, I thought you were heading back to Chicago to check on your wife.
Well, I managed to pull myself together a bit after we first talked. I wanted to know if there was anything I could tell you that could aid your investigation. Also, I wanted to know how the investigation is proceeding.
Well, the police and I are working on it around the clock, and I'm not free to discuss it any further. If you and your attorney would like to wait in the squad room, I'll be out as soon as I'm finished.
Gladly.
Hey! That's the man who murdered my entire family! I came back to Oakdale when I heard Brock Lombard was dead, and I'm glad. But his father's a murderer, too.
As the world turns.
Who is this young man?
Does the name Bruce Dreyfus ring a bell? Hey, don't try to pretend like you don't know me. The day my father was burned to death, along with the rest of my family, he told me to run and keep running. He said that you and your son were our enemies and that you would kill me on sight.
I won't pretend I didn't hear about the tragedy involving your family. I was even asked questions by the authorities at that time. But I can assure you neither my son nor I had anything to do with it. The Chicago authorities will back me up on that. And I would be careful about these accusations.
Mr. Lombard, I will handle this from here on out if you would wait outside, please, with your attorney.
Gladly.
I'm sorry, I didn't know Lombard was going to show up here with his lawyer.
Get out of here!
Hold it. You don't have to run anymore. You understand? You're safe here. We'll see to it that you get protection.
My father told me that nobody, not even the police, could protect me from the Lombards.
Well, your father was wrong.
Bruce, you got to trust us. We can help you.
Look, you don't know these people the way I know them. Even Brock Lombard told me that I was in danger from his father.
When did he tell you that?
The night at Shannon's party. I saw him there with Miss Stewart, and I ran out. He followed me to the stairs, and he tried to tell me how I wasn't in danger from him, and that he had known I was at the castle for 3 weeks, and that he wasn't going to tell his father.
Did anybody else hear this conversation?
Yes. A pretty dark-haired girl. She She followed us out to the steps, and she heard everything.
Gotta be Ellie.
Jason?
Tom, everyone,
Jason, what on earth brings you to Oakdale?
didn't my secretary call your office?
Well, she may have, but I've been camped out here pretty much for the last 24 hours.
Well, I'm here to act as liaison between the Chicago and Oakdale PDs during the investigation of Brock Lombard's murder. I've been after the Lombard family for years. Maybe I can help you guys put the pieces together. I just saw Philip Lombard and his mouthpiece outside. I don't think they were too thrilled to see me.
Well, welcome aboard. Matter of fact, there is someone here that I'd like you to meet. Jason Benedict, Bruce Dreyfus.
The only surviving member of the South Bend family? Well, well, well. We might just nail him this time.
This is the final payment of what I owe you.
Well,
I would have had it to you sooner, but I've been in New York.
I see. Well, you must be doing okay. I see this isn't a Reyes management check.
Hi.
Hi.
What is Julie doing here?
She's paying back John the money that he gave her to leave town. Kimberly believes that Julie and Andy aren't living together anymore, and she's really in a state about it.
Yeah, you know, I thought so too, but Andy insisted that everything was okay.
I don't know when this is going to end, but I hope it's soon for Kim's sake. Let's take a walk. I really don't want to get involved in
Okay.
Well, I'm glad to see you doing so well, Julie. By the way, my wife heard a rumor that you didn't get that job you were after in New York.
Yeah, I heard that too. So I called up Veronica Leathers today and I checked it out. Turns out that they're having legal problems with the contract of their former signature model, so if they can't break the contract, they're gonna give me an even better job.
Yeah? Take you out of town a lot? Out of Oakdale?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll be all over the world.
No kidding. How does Andy feel about that?
Why don't you ask Andy that yourself?
Julie, you didn't answer my question.
Mrs. Hughes, I don't want to get in the middle of any family problems, so if you or anybody else has any problems or questions about Andy or me, I wish you'd just ask him yourself.
Julie,
She seemed a little bit more on edge to you than usual?
I tell you, I am sure she has moved out of that apartment. And Andy keeps insisting that nothing has happened. He told me that if we didn't all get off his back, the two of them were going to move to New York.
Emily, I just assumed that the police were keeping you abreast of the investigation. You mean you didn't know that Ellie's fingerprints were found on the murder weapon?
No, Lucinda, I didn't. I'm sure she had an explanation. She seems to have an explanation for
Well,
everything.
she insists that it was delivered to her by special messenger at the office.
At the office.
Of course, the police couldn't find a box that it would have had to come in, or wrappings or anything like that. They searched the wastepaper basket and they retrieved 2 audio cassettes that Ellie says she doesn't know how they got there.
Well, what was on them?
I don't know. It's just infuriating. I mean, it must be so heartbreaking for you. The police are so tight-lipped.
Emily, do not tell this woman anything.
Susan, what are you doing home? Why aren't you working at the hospital?
John gave me the day off to be with my daughter. Now, I would like to know what you're doing here.
I'm paying a call to express my deepest sympathy. Poor Brock.
Bull. You're here to dig up dirt for that rag you call a newspaper. I woke up, I heard her voice, I thought I was having a nightmare.
Mom, listen to me. Lucinda told me that the police found Ellie's fingerprints on the murder weapon.
Emily, be quiet. Be quiet. You can't believe anything this woman says. She's only here because the police won't tell you anything, right?
Not at all, not at all. You know, I was very surprised to see that plainclothesman guarding your door. I understand why there has to be a guard.
Lucinda, I want you to leave this house now. And if you don't, I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to call John, I'm going to tell him what you're up to. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to tell him how I got my back injury.
Oh, Susan, Susan. I expected Emily to be upset, but you're on the verge of hysteria.
I am. So why don't you just get out of here while you can still walk? Officer Martone, I do not want this woman in my house ever, no matter what she says.
Well, it was good to see a cop outside of your office when I got here.
Yeah, it wasn't so great about half an hour ago when Kirk and Lila were here. He disappeared.
Where was he?
The poor guy went over to see Phyllis to get some coffee. I'm telling you, it's so bizarre having a bodyguard everywhere I go.
Well, Mama's taking it all in stride. She's been feeding and mothering the cop outside of our house. I think he's turning into a member of the family. Hey, there's that smile I missed. So, How was your day since the last time I talked to you?
Oh, well, it was just wonderful, wonderful. As you know, wrappings and the package the gun came in disappeared, and Hal Munson found the tapes in my waistband.
Ellie, you don't really think that the police believe that you made up the story about the gun and that you planted those tapes yourself, do you?
I don't know. I don't know what they believe. But I know that Emily thinks I'm responsible, and that's the worst part.
That is just from the shock from everything that's happened, that's all.
I don't think so. I thought that last night, but when I spoke to her this morning, no. Philip Lombard, he's feeding into her paranoia.
Philip Lombard?
Yeah. He called her when I was there. God only knows what he said to her. When she hung up, she got hysterical. She told me to leave, so I left.
Well, look, I'll tell you what we'll do. Why don't you take a break? Since you're so rich, you can treat me to a cup of coffee. What do you think of that? Down in the executive dining room?
Yeah, I think that's just what we need, another cup of coffee. We gotta take Officer Casper with us, if you don't mind.
Hey, that's fine with me. He can protect me from Lucinda and Olivia. Ah, he's smiling. Come on, let's go get your coat.
Ellie Snyder. Marco. Something new? Yeah, sure, I can come down to the station. Can't you tell me what it's about before I come?
Blake, are you sure you want to go over these files before you start? There's an awful lot of material here.
Absolutely. I'm prepared to spend nights and weekends learning the operation and the clients. So I'll really be up to speed when I make the move over here next week.
That's great. I'm doing the same thing at home right now.
You know, I didn't know you that well before you, before you got back from Switzerland, but, I'm amazed at the change in you.
Yes, that's what everybody tells me, but I'll tell you, I know you're used to working with her famous mother, but let me tell you, after a few years, that woman's gonna be just as famous.
Well, I believe you.
Oh, Blake, don't open that in front of my mother with my files in there, okay?
Don't worry. Sean, can I call you in the morning if I have any questions?
Sorry, I am going to the mountains for a vacation. It's only a few days, but man, do I need it.
I'm amazed you can get away with Emily gone.
Well, I have a very understanding boss who's going to call me in case of any emergency.
Yes, I promise. And, you know, I may call you too, Blake.
Well, feel free.
Hi. Hi, Blake.
Wait a second, now what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be packing?
Yes, I am. I got a little sidetracked. The boy who ran away from the Mitchell Center just ended up showing up out of the blue, and so Shannon and I had to take him down to the police station.
Is he in some sort of trouble?
Well, he didn't commit any crime or anything, but, yeah, I guess you could say he's in trouble. Anyway, the reason why I'm here, I was just wondering if you could pick me up an hour later than what we had talked about.
Oh, I can do that. I can do that as long as you're not backing out. I cannot tell you how much I am looking forward to this trip.
Well, Fred, Duncan was here earlier. He was very upset, made some accusations, so I can only assume that the FCC is turning down his license application for the television station. That means I should have clear sailing. What? It's definite? That's great. It's mine. Why didn't you tell me right away, Fred? This is great news. Oh, I can't wait until Lucinda finds out that Oakdale Civic Enterprises is my corporation. Well, Julie and I really have reason to celebrate tonight. Fred, someone just walked into my office. I'll have to get back to you, all right?
Good. What can I do for you?
I have a message for Julie, and I want to know where I can find her.
Well, I think if Julie wanted you to know where she was, she would have told you herself.
Reyes, I don't want any more of your bull. Now, where is she? I tried your apartment. There was no answer there.
Well, I think you're jumping to some conclusions, aren't you? When I told you Julie was with me now, I didn't say we were living together.
I don't care. I just need to talk to her.
I'll be glad to give her your message when I see her later.
No! No way!
Well, then I'm afraid I can't help you. But I will give you some advice. Take your lumps like a man. Stop hounding Julie now that she's left you. You know, you made enough of a spectacle of yourself with your drunken ravings over the holidays. That's one of the reasons she walked out on you.
Why did you just shove it?
And why don't you face the truth? Everyone knows you're an alcoholic.
Shut up!
You didn't really think you'd be able to hold on to Julie forever, did you? When you failed to satisfy her the way a real man would, you tried to hold on to her with pity and guilt. Until I helped show her the light.
Oh, honey, thank you. I'm supposed to be taking care of you.
Glad you got some rest.
Yeah, I really got a lot of rest. I don't know, it must be the long night.
Maybe it's the painkillers you're taking for your back. Mom, how many of those did you take today?
Not a one. I had that bath, you know, I just drifted right off.
Please, Mom, I hope you're telling me the truth.
I am. Boy, I can't get over the gall of Lucinda showing up here acting all sympathetic. She hates our guts.
I know. But I can't get over what you told me about Ellie.
Oh, honey, use your head. She's had it in for Ellie since she first started dating Craig.
She could not have made up the fact that they found Ellie's fingerprints on the murder weapon.
Honey, please, listen to me. Can't you remember what Tom told us? It was an inside job. To silence Brock, he was going to testify against the family business, turn state's evidence. Now, I don't even want to know what the family business was, but when I think that you could have married into it, it makes my blood run cold. It wasn't Caleb or Ellie who sent Lucas Pryor after you. Why do you keep blaming the wrong people? You know, I've been trying to piece this whole thing together since it happened, and there's something I really have to ask you. Brock was planning to ask Tom for protection under the witness relocation program, right? Does that mean that you were going to give up everything here and change your identity and live the rest of your life in hiding?
Mom, it didn't feel like I'd be giving anything up. Don't you understand? Brock was all that mattered to me.
And the thing is that it sounds like Jason Benedict thinks he can nail the Lombard organization with Hayu's help, but I really don't see how. And it's going to be the word of a teenage runaway against that of some highly powerful, well-organized, and well-connected criminals.
Mr. Hughes, I have been patient, but my patience is wearing thin. What evidence has your investigation produced so far that points to the killer?
I am not free to disclose evidence to you, sir.
You forget you are talking to the victim's father, not some disinterested third party. Naturally, he's concerned.
I do not need to be reminded of that.
You ever seen this?
Looks like the same make and caliber of the weapon my son sometimes used to protect himself.
Yeah, well, we ran a check on it. It is registered in your son's name.
Well, then why ask me?
ID purposes only. When was the last time you saw it?
A few weeks ago when I was in Brock's suite.
Could you give us any details?
Yes, in fact, it was out on his desk at the time. I thought that was very careless. I asked him if there was some problem, if he was in some sort of danger.
And what did he say?
He said no, but Ellie Snyder was. He was going to give it to her to protect herself.
We'll continue with part 2 of As the World Turns.
in just a moment. And now, part 2 of As the World Turns.
Snyder.
Hello, Philip. Sorry about the news that brought you and Mrs. Lombard back from Rome.
Yes, saddest news I've ever received. I take it this is your brother?
Yes, this is Caleb.
How do you do, Caleb?
Hello?
Ellie, why don't you and Caleb wait for us
That'd be
in the
great.
squad room for a few minutes? So, Mr. Lombard, do you know if Brock ever carried through with his plan to give Ellie that gun for protection?
Yes, in fact, I do. The next time he came to Chicago, he got a new permit for the gun and through the business. I okayed it because I knew it was to replace the one he'd given to Ellie Snyder.
According to Emily Stewart, he gave her a gun for the same reason.
I'm not surprised. Poor Brock was unarmed when the killer stalked him.
Okay, Mr. Lombard, that'll be all for now.
I'm not going to leave until I find out about progress in this case.
I think I told you that there is nothing to discuss with you. I will let you know if things change in that regard.
Let's see, I wasn't too clear when we were introduced. It is Detective Hughes, right?
That's right.
And District Attorney Hughes?
Correct. Margot and I are married.
Yes, now I remember Brock telling me that Miss Snyder was going to marry your brother, Detective Hughes, and that he was a partner with Emily Stewart before his wife returned.
That's correct.
And then I take it you're rather close to Miss Snyder.
If you're implying that Ellie is going to get preferential treatment because she happens to be
I'm not implying anything. Just collecting facts that would be useful in the investigation of the murder of my only son. Make a note of that, Jim.
I'm beginning to believe everything Joe Bailey told us about this guy.
Me too. I know that man could order the hit on his only son.
Well, if only Lawrence Finlay would have a miraculous recovery so we could get this damn case closed. I usually enjoy my work, but the less I have to do with the likes of Philip Lombard, the better.
I know what you mean.
Okay, Bruce Dreyfus is safe in a hotel room. One of your officers is standing guard outside. He'll be kept there until he's needed to testify.
Okay.
Listen, I've been going over some of the statements we've gotten thus far. I've been interested to note that Ellie Snyder admitted she lied when she was questioned by the Chicago authorities and me in order to give Brock an alibi.
Yeah, you've got to remember she didn't know what Brock was up to that night.
Miss Snyder, I haven't seen you since the Stenbeck trial. And it was, what, a year and a half ago I questioned you in Chicago?
Yeah, that's right. And I've told the truth about all that, and I'm ready to receive any punishment that's necessary.
Ellie, you don't have to say anything without a lawyer.
I don't care. I've had to deal with this a long time. I think it's time the truth comes out.
That's very noble, but what you've got to realize is that when you were originally questioned, Brock Lombard was still alive. It's possible we could have nailed the Lombards for their nasty little plot against the Dreyfus family. Unfortunately, changing your story now won't hold water. You see, you could be completely discredited by the Lombards.
Well, what about Hey You? I mean, you can find him, he can verify all of this. I heard Brock tell him that Philip was responsible.
We know we found Bruce Dreyfus. And it's still second-hand testimony when Brock dead. Jim Carlisle could tear your and Dreyfus's stories to shreds. An 18-year-old runaway and Brock's ex-mistress, the woman who discovered his body.
All right, I want to help. What can I do to help? All right, Ellie. Maybe you can. Why don't you sit down, Caleb? You have a seat, too. All right, now, Philip Lombard claims that the gun that was sent to your office by special delivery yesterday was actually a gun given to you by Brock for your own protection a few weeks ago. That's a lie, Margot. Brock offered me a gun once, and I refused. It is so obvious that Philip is trying to incriminate me. He's even feeding into Emily's paranoia. I did not kill Brock.
What you have to realize, finally, Miss Snyder, is that Lombard is a genius at this sort of thing. Lots of people, innocent people, have been prosecuted for crimes they did not commit because they were set up so brilliantly by the Lombards that even after we knew the truth, we were helpless to do anything about it.
Well, I think I'll go get dressed. Maybe I can wake up.
Hello.
Emily, it's Philip Lombard. I've been worried about you. How are you feeling?
Not so good.
I understand the horror of it all has hit me too, and I'm having the realization that I will never see my son again.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Emily, I'd love to see you and talk about our great loss. I know you're under police guard, but I'm wondering, is there any way you could get out and meet me so we could try and help each other through this?
I hope dinner is going to be nice. I know the food is going to be nice, darling. And Lily and Bianca are both coming. Did you ask Duke?
Look, I was about to. Kim came by. I'm not so sure I'm going to be free myself.
Oh.
Kim seems to think that Julie has moved out on Andy, but Andy is behaving as if nothing at all has happened.
Well, isn't that a cause for celebration? Isn't that just hunky-dory? Don't I get some of the credit for it?
How do you figure that?
Well, because Olivia is the inside track to Veronica Leathers, and Olivia told Julie that Veronica Leathers is keeping their signature model. Her name is Cheryl something or other. So maybe Julie just wised up, and she sees that Tonio's a double-crossing louse when she's ankling Oakdale.
Well, that would be real nice, yes. But Julie was here. She was going to pay me back some of the money I loaned her, you know. Well, I gave her to leave town. She's talking about some job that Veronica Leathers offered her that would keep her here in Oakdale, so she's not going anywhere for a while.
You mean some other job?
I guess so. I can't keep up with any of this
Tonio
stuff.
has squirmed out of it. Darling, did you just ask Julie if she was still living with Andy?
Kim did, but she wouldn't give a straight answer.
It's a town filled with secrets.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
I don't suppose Margot's let anything drop in your hearing about the Lombard murder investigation?
No, nothing. I guess the police, they aren't ready to let any information out about that.
You know all about the man in ICU. You're the chief of staff of this.
I don't know
hospital.
anything. I can't tell you anything about that. I'm not going to help you out.
Why did you give Susan the day off?
Boy, aren't you something? How do you know about that?
I know, because I went to pay a call on Emily, and who comes out of the bedroom all in her
John?
deja vu?
Excuse me, Lucinda. Have you found Andy?
No, I've called him a couple of times, but I can't reach him. Maybe he's still in class or something.
Oh, well, I hope so.
I guess you haven't heard yet. The deal has been consummated, and I no longer own a television station.
Oh.
Alas, alas, alackaday.
Lucinda.
You're going to have a new boss.
Well, for heaven's sakes, who did you sell it to?
Why, I'm not at liberty to tell you until it's all, finalized.
Well, so do you think there are going to be a lot of policy changes?
Oh, why would they mess with a good thing? No, the lineup is great. Patterns is doing so well. You've got high ratings.
No one in their right mind would replace you.
Famous last words.
I'm going to call Andrew and see if he can have dinner, still have dinner with the two of us. You know, we could talk this whole thing out if you're still free.
Well, yes. All right, fine.
I thought we had plans.
Honey, I know, just tonight, just for dinner. I think it's important for us to work this whole thing out for Andy's sake.
Let me try to call him. Why don't you come along? Maybe he'll want to talk to you.
All right, excuse me, I'll be right back.
Well, Bob, it looks like it's you and me until Andy can settle his problems with Julie.
What happened to your face? And don't tell me you ran into a door.
Andy dropped by the office a little earlier. He wanted to know where you were living, and when I refused to tell him, he attacked me.
Are you serious? Was he drinking?
No, but he was hysterical. I think you made the right move, moving away from him when you did, before he had a chance to be violent with you.
Oh, no. No, I don't think he would have ever done that with me.
Well, all alcoholics have a tendency towards violence. But I wouldn't worry about it. I think he got the worst of it. He won't be back.
Was that all he wanted, was to find out where I was?
No, he said he had a message for you, but I think he just wanted to find out where you were living. He said he went by my place, but I told him you weren't living there.
That's good. I hope if he goes by Lisa's that she doesn't tell him my number. Otherwise, he'll be calling me at all hours of the night.
He doesn't want Lisa or anyone else close to the family to know that you've dumped him.
It's all so sad.
Well, then maybe I should give you some news that would cheer you up.
The television station is now all mine.
Excellent! Oh, that's great! I can't believe you pulled one over, Lucinda.
Well, you should get used to that. From now on, I'm going to claim my rightful share of the enterprises in Oakdale. And when I finish buying up this town, we'll move on to bigger and better places.
Thank goodness you had the sense to tell Philip Lombard you wouldn't meet him.
I want to talk to him. I have questions.
Darling, listen to me. Joe Bailey and the police are trying to find out if that man ordered his son killed. He's the last man you should be talking to.
He sounded genuinely crushed.
Yes?
There's an Andy Dixon here to see Dr. Stewart.
Oh, sure. Send him right in. Andy! What on earth happened to you?
Where are Lily and Blake? We were only gone for 20 minutes.
Oh, Lily's probably out signing half of her mother's clients, and, Blake... Well, Blake's probably asking Lucinda for more money than Lily's offered him.
Sounds like you're a little less than thrilled with your new coworker.
Hey, if the guy is willing to sell Walsh down the river for a better offer, what's to stop him from doing the same thing to us?
I can understand that. Don't you think that, Lily would do the same thing? I mean, if given half the chance? I mean, you know, she openly double-crossed her own mother. First with Kirk, and now she's going to do it with Blake. I think you need to realize, sir, that you are swimming with two sharks in this tank.
Oh, when push comes to shove, I can swim in murky waters myself.
Oh, well, that wouldn't surprise me, although I don't think I've really gotten to know that part of you yet.
Well, there are several parts of me you don't know about. Hopefully the ski trip will fix all that.
Well, I'd better get back to Walsh. I called the office. Lucinda's been out all afternoon, but you never know when she'll turn up, wondering where I've been.
Yeah.
I need to be going too. Gotta pack.
Yeah.
Don't be late.
I won't. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
I will call you in the morning.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Okay. Sean, have a good time in the mountains. Hope you can relax a bit.
Oh, I'll try.
Excuse me, Lucinda just got off the elevator. She's on her way here.
Blake, why don't you wait in here?
Okay.
Yes, Mother! Oh, it's so nice to see you. This is a nice surprise. You know, I was just talking to Sean saying that I really wanted to see my mother because she's the smartest businesswoman in the whole world and I could use some pointers. Now, well, let me buy you a cup of coffee and
why can't we,
I'll ask you some questions. Yes, I don't. Well, you know, the coffee, Sean makes a lousy cup of coffee.
Bye-bye. I think I was right about Lily.
Get through here. I'm sorry. Guess you're not going to tell me how you got this.
I got in a dumb fight with Tonio, that's how.
Why?
Because I think he's been lying to Julie about these modeling jobs.
Oh, Andy, I think you're probably right. It would do Julie some good to stay as far away from Tonio as she possibly can. You know he has a history of lying to women to get whatever he wants. And you know, Julie's very sweet. She stopped by here today to see if I was all right. I hardly know her. I thought that was really kind.
Yeah, that's a part of Julie that nobody seems to know about. I mean, when she first came here, she made some mistakes, but people won't let won't let her live them down.
I know what that's like.
Do you think that you could talk to her? Maybe and set her straight about Tonio? I mean, she thinks I'm acting out of jealousy.
Yeah, sure, I'd be glad to.
Did Julie say anything to you about her immediate plans? I mean, we had an argument this morning, and I want to set things straight. I mean, she hasn't told me much about the Veronica job.
Well, won't she be home later tonight?
I hope so. Well, see, sometimes when we fight, she hides out or stays over at Lisa's, and I wanted to make up with her, but I have to find her to do that.
Won't you be working at the Mona Lisa tonight?
I'm not sure. Well, I'm gonna go try and track her down.
Sure.
Susan, thank you so much.
Oh, it's okay.
For the medical attention, I appreciate it. And please don't say anything to Dad about this, okay?
No.
Thank you.
Andy. Don't let Tonio get to you, Ben. He's really not worth it.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'll see you later.
Poor guy. He's a lot more worried about Julie than he's telling us.
I think you're right. Hello?
Hi, Susan, it's John. How's Emily?
A little better, I think.
Look, Lucinda told me that she stopped by. I'm sorry about that.
Well, I don't blame you for her pranks.
Susan, Kim and I are trying to find Andrew. Kim thinks that there may be trouble in paradise, that Julie may have walked out on him.
Andy was just here, and from what I saw and heard, I think Kim is probably right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry I'm late, but I just had a lot of things to ask my mother.
I understand. Hey, Lily, I'm out of here. I'm going home to change, and I gotta pick up Franny.
Good heavens. How could you afford to take off from work like that?
Well, you see, I had this very understanding boss, plus the fact I'm taking a lot of work with me.
Well, have a good time. And don't break any bones or
Thank you, I will try.
Hello. I'm, calling on most of the firms in town. I know some of your clients do television advertising. Lucinda, I'm glad to see you here. It saves me a trip to Walsh. I'm the new owner of WOAK, and my commercial rates are going to be a little bit lower than Lucinda's were, just to start off with.
Grief. No. You, Oakdale, Civic Enterprise, you?
That's from me. I'm gone, unless it's Franny.
Montgomery & Associates. Hold on. It's the Hartley School in Massachusetts?
Wait, that's Courtney's school. Hello. Yes, this is Sean Baxter. Is there something wrong with my sister?
What? Jim, I want you to get me some sort of court order that will allow me to go through Brock's belongings downstairs in his suite.
Well, I'm sure the police won't allow that until the investigation's complete.
I guess whoever killed Brock must have removed anything that would implicate Lombard Industries. Or else Jason Benedict and Joe Bailey would have had me arrested by now.
Phil, I haven't wanted to bring this up and make matters worse, but it seems that we're dealing with our own mystery. I never gave the order to anyone to take out Brock, and I'm sure you didn't. So who did and why?
Jim, it's time you took to heart what the authorities seem determined to ignore. Ellie Snyder killed Brock out of jealousy. And then she and her brother stole whatever belongings Brock had that would incriminate Lombard Industries.
But why?
Obviously, they plan to blackmail us at some later date. But I intend to see that either she pays for her crime and is safe behind bars, or we'll take care of her and her brother on our own. One way or another, Brock's murderer is going to pay.
I have not been able to concentrate for 5 seconds.
No wonder.
You know, Caleb, I just can't stop thinking about Philip Lombard. He's got this whole thing mapped out. I mean, what about that story that Brock sent me the gun weeks ago?
Look, the police know exactly what he's up to and why.
Oh, yeah, well, what if they can't prove it?
They will. The guy at Memorial, he's going to come out of his coma and spill his guts. The police will have all the evidence that they need. The Lombard family's going to go up in flame just the way Brock wanted them to.
What do you say? We go home and shower, and then we'll, I don't know, try to work out some of this tension that's built up over the last 24 hours.
It sounds like heaven.
Where's Lieutenant McCloskey been all afternoon?
And he's at the commissioner's. He's getting pressure from the press about not letting public know or the media know information.
I talked to my assistant at Hamilton. He said the DA's office has been swamped with similar calls.
Well, I sympathize, but I agree with Joe about keeping any hint of the Lombard family's criminal activities out of the print until we have something to prove. Speaking of Joe, can he be reached at the hospital?
Well, I guess so. I just wish we could get some update on Finlay's condition. So much of this investigation hinges on whether or not he pulls through.
I'll check with the hospital.
Thanks.
You have him tell Joe I'm on my way over?
Will do.
Yes, ICU unit, please. Yes, this is Detective Munson of the Oakdale Police. I'd like the latest report on Lawrence Finlay's condition, please. You.
Finlay died without ever coming out of the coma.
Stay tuned for Guiding Light, next on most of these CBS stations. Children's Clothes by Good Lad of Philadelphia. Join us tomorrow for As the World Turns.
This is CBS.